Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Chicks, Three Seats. First, before we get into this episode 70, we just want to say that in case you missed our prior episode, which is episode 69, be sure to take a listen after you're done listening here. Episode 69 was a great interview that we had 2 weeks ago with Triple Seats founder and CEO Jonathan Morse, and we talked about the current state of the hospitality and events industry, which is a very important conversation for all hospitality professionals right now. So be sure to check that one out once you're done listening to us today. But then
there's
there's
some good dad jokes thrown in there too. So don't forget to comment on
great dad jokes, even better selling point.
Yes.
So for this week, for episode 70, big 70.
Wow.
We are here with a new episode focusing on some different current happenings in the hospitality industry. So we did a bit of research on some interesting headlines in the news, different publications that kind of made us think, and hopefully that they can help do the same for you and get you thinking too. So we can all put our thinking caps on and see our different perspectives on different topics and kick it off with our first story with Kate over there.
Yeah. And after you hear our perspectives on these, because there are our opinions, really, like we'll talk about the articles, but it's also a lot of our opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think out there. So definitely let us know, because I'm interested to know what others think. But so the first one is an Eater article, because we love Eater. And it is the minimalistic restaurant menu over? So this article basically, I'm like, but it challenges like what menus look like in comparing the guest experience on a minimalistic menu versus a more detailed menu. And I think that what they're ultimately saying in the end of this article is that the more descriptive print menus are coming back. They're making a big comeback. So background a little bit for those that don't, I'm sure almost everyone who listens knows what the difference is, but a minimalistic menu is, when you go to like a really hip, like new, like hip, like I feel like you find them a lot in like places that feel like Brooklyn, even if they aren't Brooklyn, like those types of neighborhoods, right? With literally just says like appetizer. And then there's like 3 dishes. And the first dish will just say like beets, almonds, goat.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that could be goat meat, could be goat cheese. I have no idea what that is. There's no sauce on there. And then like one of the entrees is literally just like chicken. I'm trying to think off the top of my head here, like chicken, young potato, peas. And you're like, okay, what did you do with those ingredients? How are they prepared? What kind of sauce? Is there seasoning? Like, am I literally just eating poached chicken, potatoes, and peas? I have no idea. So I feel like if you go to, so I have a strong opinion on this. Clearly, you guys can probably already tell. If I go to a restaurant where I know who the chef is, not personally, but like I know of the chef and I have trust and faith in the chef, then I'll just order whatever. I like everything though. So like, there's literally nothing I've tried in my life that I'm like, that's disgusting. I'll never eat it again. Oh, although I've never eaten like weird crap. Like I don't eat bugs or anything. So I don't know. I'm sure I would draw the line somewhere, but with that said, like I can order off those menus if I have trust in the chef and I know that they're like good at what they do and that sort of thing. But a random restaurant that I've never heard of with a chef I've never heard of, sorry, but like that, I need to know more. I need more information. And also, my husband is a very picky eater. So he sees chicken, peas, and young potatoes and he's like, well, I don't know. I like those 3 things, but I only like them a certain way. So like I could be spending $30 on something that is a waste of my time and I'll take one bite and be like, I don't like this. And there's also like, you don't get the full ingredient list. Like, I feel like there's always surprises on a minimalistic menu. Like you just like, if you have allergies or if you really, really don't like something, like my husband, I keep using him as an example, but it's because we go out to eat a lot, obviously, but he hates mushrooms. He's not allergic to them. He just hates them. Right. He hates he's never had a mushroom he liked. And I try, believe me, because I love mushrooms. But with that said, like sometimes there's mushrooms in a dish that they don't list that out though. So you're like, you get it. And you're like, oh, I didn't know there was going to be mushrooms in it. I don't know.
It could have been chicken, young potatoes, chickpeas with mushrooms sauteed,
Right.
and he wouldn't even have any idea.
Exactly. So I think that's why, and a lot of times also, this article talks about this, but a lot of times on minimalistic menus, like it's different than what I said before. They don't even list categories. So it's just a bunch of items listed out. And your only way of guessing is if they're appetizers, entrees, or desserts is by the ingredient, like the 3 ingredients they listed, and usually the price, because you know that appetizers are usually, unless of course you're eating at like a place with small plates and then everything's priced the same way. So I don't know. I'm not into them. And so also in this article, they start talking about how with COVID, these places that have minimalistic menus, they had to kind of like pivot and change their menu layout because most people weren't eating inside the restaurant. They were like taking their food away, eating it at home. So you can't ask the server a lot of questions. You're not surrounded by restaurant staff. So you can't be like, this looks interesting. Can you tell me more about it? Because they're not there and you're not going to do it over the phone. And sometimes you were ordering online through an app and there's no description. So a lot of places had to pivot what they wrote on their menus. And I'm not saying, so the article also talks about the 1980s where menus were literally like when you go to the Cheesecake Factory, right? And they not only list out every ingredient on the plate, which is insanity, they also list out how they prepared it. Like, so it's like sauteed chicken and a white wine butter. And you're like, I don't need to know every single, then we chopped it. Then we had like, I don't need to know how the vegetables are prepared. Just tell me there are vegetables and you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So I don't know. It's like, I don't think it needs to go back to like the way it was in the 80s and early 90s, but I also don't like the super minimalistic menu. I think I think it works in very rare situations, but not in the majority. So it's like, you're giving up your trust and your faith and you're giving it to a chef. And if you don't like have a previous knowledge of that chef, and I'm not saying it's going to suck. It might not suck. It might be awesome. I don't know. But like when you're spending money, especially now when people don't have a lot of money to spend, or, maybe like they're making decisions, they want more information before they make their decisions. I feel like these days. So I think going back to like somewhere in between the huge menus of the 80s to the very minimalistic menus of like 2019, we should go somewhere in the middle.
Right.
That's my opinion. And I think that's sort of what the Eater article, they said like a lot of pros to having a fuller description is that, people know what they're going to eat. There's more understanding with less communication from the servers. Like I said, during COVID, there were no servers to ask. So, dietary restrictions, which we all know, I mean, we don't all love them, right? They're annoying sometimes, and we all have that one friend who's allergic to everything. And you're like, oh God, here we go.
Here we go again.
So, but if it was all listed there, and sometimes restaurants even list, like, if you have this allergy or this allergy, you can't have this dish. It's just easier. It makes it easier on the servers. It makes it easier on the guests. Also, in a time right now where a lot of restaurants are short staffed, sometimes the servers don't have 4 hours to stand there and explain every menu item to you, So I don't know. I just think it's just more descriptive makes sense to me.
Yeah. I think, so reading this article, and as someone who has a different background, since I don't have the restaurant experience as you have, so coming from the consumer angle, obviously I see when I'm going to a restaurant, I'm like, okay, I can notice if there's 3 words versus if I'm on a menu that has like a little bit more. But I don't think I'm like necessarily looking out for, okay, I like it more this way or that way, but I definitely, it's obviously a gamble if it's just going off of those 3 words. And if you're, like you said, spending money on a nice meal at like a fancier restaurant, I feel like this happens in the North End in Boston sometimes. It's like, it's going to be some variation of an Italian pasta dish, but like, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like until it's in front of me. And part of that's like exciting because I don't know, but then part of it's like, okay, well, if I am spending the money, do I want to know exactly what I'm getting?
Right.
But I'm also like, I'm in the pool where I'm like, I'm not picky. I'll eat it, whatever it is, regardless. Like I'll try anything. So I definitely, I see both ways, but I hear what you're saying about, it does make more sense if there is a little bit more of an understanding of what it is. And especially for like more picky people or allergies.
Right.
But it's interesting.
And it doesn't like I said, it doesn't have to be 4 sentences, right? Like this article talked about a restaurant like back in the 80s that had a chicken dish that literally had 4 sentences explaining how the chicken was prepared.
Right.
And that's overkill, right? So like if literally just like the ingredients and then a short sentence about like anything else that maybe you think they'd want to know about. So they don't have to
Right.
ask your server, like, is there butter? Is there,
Yeah.
or like, is it really creamy? Is it, is there wine in it? I don't know. It's like, it's just, I don't, it's because you're not ordering like a grilled cheese, right? Like, what a grilled cheese is.
Right.
So it's like, you
Right.
don't need them to explain that. But if it's something more complicated, just like a little explanation. And
Right.
again, I'm with you in the fact that like, I like the surprise a lot of times because
Right.
I do like everything. So I don't really care. As long as I have faith in the restaurant that I'm at.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I'd like to hear what other people think about it, and people who are currently working in the restaurant industry, because obviously I'm not in restaurants anymore working. So, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'd have a different feeling if I was, or maybe I'd have an even more bigger feeling towards the descriptive ones if I was.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm always, it's probably just me, my personality and how I struggle with some of the decision making when it comes to like silly, unimportant things. And so I'm always going to be like, okay, what do you think? I asked the server her opinion or his opinion. And I want to know like, okay, if I'm deciding between these 3 items, which one are you going to recommend for me? And then I'll go off of that. So that ultimately, I feel like I'll like be drawn in by the menu items, of course, but then I always ask at the end of the day, I don't know. I need another input to help me decide.
So are you one of those people that, because I do this, do you look at a menu before you go to a restaurant? Like, are you like, oh, we're going there for dinner tomorrow night, let me look at the menu? And I don't necessarily choose what I'm going to have, but I look at the menu before I go. Some people don't, which
I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50. Sometimes if I've never been there before and I'm like so excited and I have no idea what they serve, I'll definitely check it out. Sometimes if it's like, I know it's an Italian restaurant in the North End in Boston, I'll like look at it later. I don't know. It really depends. I'm not one way or the other, but I know people who definitely like look ahead of time. But I never, even if I do look ahead of time, I'm not making my decision until I'm actually sitting there, because I always have to ask that last opinion anyways.
I know. I'm the same. I don't make my decisions beforehand, but I do look, especially if I've never been there. If I've been there, I usually don't look unless I know they change up their menu often, and then I'll take a look. But I'm like also, I feel like if I'm going out to eat with other people and they're picky, then I'll make sure I just like want to scan it to be like, okay, there's something for them to order.
For sure. No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, the power of the menu.
Right? It does. It holds a lot of power. It's something that a lot of people don't. I mean, obviously everyone thinks about the menu when they're going to a restaurant, but when you really think about like the way it's laid out, like the way there's a lot that goes into menu creation.
It's marketing.
It is. And now with QR codes, it's interesting how those things have shifted. But
changing the game, the menu game.
The menu game. It's big business.
Okay. Well, transitioning from menus, the next article is a BizBash article called Lights, Camera, Action, 7 streaming service activations that you might have missed. So this was a BizBash article that I found really interesting because it involves how big streaming services, which everyone knows and loves, like Netflix, Peacock, Hulu, they're all using events right now to promote excitement about upcoming shows on their different streaming services. And so they specifically talk in this article about how they hire event professionals and different event agencies to create these quote unquote event activations that give a look into the upcoming series. And we love to talk about creative event experiences here on the podcast. And so I thought that this article could be interesting when maybe corporate event planners are planning for like larger companies, and how they could be like incorporating some of these event experience ideas. And I also think it's relatable to some of the smaller restaurants or planners listening, because these all talk about like creating a theme around some sort of idea or event. And that could be applied even to like smaller scale when it comes to like choosing food, decor, drinks, ambiance, all that goes into creating like an event experience activation. So talk about a couple examples, which I feel like I've seen stuff like this on Instagram too and social media, people promoting these. Actually, I saw a couple before I researched this, but so one of the first one that I saw was Netflix promoting their show Money Heist, which I don't actually watch, but I know it's a popular one. So they used the LA-based event agency JJLA. And so they created a 70-minute experience where participants are immersed in different concepts of the show. So apparently in the show, they wear red jumpsuits and masks. So during this like whole immersive experience, people were wearing red jumpsuits, and then they had them going through different like simulations, and there was like different elements of theatrics involved by like the staff. So like one of the things on the TV show is like breaking into a vault and stealing gold. And so that's like something that they had the participants do in this whole immersive experience. And then after the event, there was some like a happy hour with themed drinks that go along for the show. So it all kind of goes into that activity, and then like into a little happy hour, all within like the same theme of Money Heist, the show. So I thought that one was kind of creative, and it's like emulating what actually happens in the show with that whole like breaking into the vault situation there.
That's cool.
And then another one that I know you'll probably appreciate this one.
I love this show.
I actually messaged you about this the other day. Or I think I sent you something on TikTok, maybe, or on Instagram. But the Bear TV show had an activation premiere. So this is FX's new show that I know involves the hospitality industry. I haven't watched it yet though. But
it's so good. It's so good. It's all back of the house. It's all like working in the kitchen, basically, and working with staff and working with front of the house staff and the back of the house staff working in front of the house. And and there's a lot of other drama and things in it. Like it's not just that. There's a storyline outside the restaurant that leaks into the restaurant, but it's so good. It's so accurate, first of all. And in addition to that, it's just so, it's like funny and sad at the same time. I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. You need to watch it. Everyone needs to watch it. I don't care if you've never worked in a restaurant in your entire life. It doesn't matter. You need to watch this show. It's so
what's
good.
The actor's name? Lip
Gallagher. I'm so bad with actors' names. He's really handsome.
It's Lip Gallagher from Shameless. I'm like, his name.
Okay.
But he's like, I feel like he's one of the main guys. He's the one I see in all the promotional things.
Yeah, he might be the main guy.
Yeah, he is the main guy.
It's good. It's really good.
But so the show is based in Chicago. So for this little event activation that they had for the premiere, and of course, since it does involve like working in a kitchen, working with chefs and foodies and everyone like that, in the activation, they really highlighted food in this. So they had different Chicago-based like foods, and then they also had drinks that were named around Chicago. So they had like the Green River, Chicagoland, the L. So they had all this like themed stuff, and then just like the whole setup of the actual space was covered in like decor that went along with the theme of the show. So really like paying attention to those small details to bring in that overarching theme. So that one was nice. I'm pretty sure that was at the end of June. And then Peacock's Love Island USA. And I saw this one on Instagram because it was actually in New York City, and Love Island. I don't watch it, but I know that it was like, the Love Island UK, I know everyone talks about, but this was for the US activation that was promoting, I think it was season 4. And so this just actually happened last week, July 20th to 21st in New York City. So the decor was like everything for this activation, and it made the setup was with all these florals. Love Island takes place in like a beachy villa. So that was kind of like the theme that they were going with like a giant heart, different florals, and like beachy kind of decor. And then they like serve champagne on the show. So they had like a champagne bowl like that you could ride, but it was like a champagne bottle. So they did that. And then they also partnered with Kenny Flowers swimsuit brand, which then also launched a collection around the show. So I think that's just another reminder to like look into your local partners and see who else you could team up with in the community when you're planning different events. And then this like other part of the activation that was incorporated. So it's a dating show, Love Island. So then when you walked into this event simulation, which was open to the public actually, so like anyone could just go and see this, they incorporated beaded bracelets. So you got a beaded bracelet, and you could choose if it said it indicated your relationship status. So you would choose available, taken, just looking, summer fling, or friend material. So
that's funny.
That was like just another fun little thing that went along with the show, but also something fun that could like unite the guests and get people talking, flirting,
Yeah, it's
creating
cute.
the vibe. And then the last one, so it was the Hulu motel activation that was set in LA last month, and it was held in a hotel over the course of 3 days. So this was from like an overall campaign that Hulu was running, kind of just promote them as a brand. And so they had the Hulu motel, which was held at an actual hotel in Los Angeles. And it was essentially a map of a hotel. And then around the hotel, guests could visit different like rooms in the hotel that were all like kind of in correlation with different themes from different trending shows on Hulu right now. So there was like the comedy room, the dress to obsess room, the mystery room. And so they each kind of tied into some of the trending shows on Hulu. What I liked about this one specifically was like, they had like a big map at the beginning, and then you could like see what room you were going into and like what you could find in that space. And I feel like that kind of concept could be easily transferable over to one of our listeners who is maybe trying to set up something like this, like some sort of big in like a big event space and different activations in different rooms, and like having it all tie back to some overarching map. So I thought that was a creative one for Hulu. And so I mean, event activations are super cool, and we're always looking for like new event experiences. So I feel like all of these streaming platforms obviously have a lot of money at their disposal, but they came out really nicely. And just taking any like little pieces that you learn from one of these could be nice to apply to your own events.
I agree. I think it's a great idea. I would love to do something like this at event camp. We don't really have the budget for it, but it would be really cool to like do event camp at, you know, a venue with multiple rooms that you could like have different like tastes. Like, oh, you're doing a corporate event, like here's some like suited drinks and stuff that you could like, you know, and local vendors. But it's tough because obviously event campers come from across the country or globally, and also we don't have the budget. So no, and also in the end we do not have the money. But this sounds like something that our girl Alicia Shero from Ace It Events. This is like right up her alley. I feel
that's like exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right. I feel like she would do events like this. All right. Well, on to my next article, also an eater article. So this one is called "Why Restaurant Owners Are Increasingly Providing Knives to Their Kitchen Staff." So for those of you that don't know, again, most of you listening probably do, but not like, so historically, chefs have always brought their own knives when they like, you know, they've always brought their own knives to new jobs. And a lot of times, you know, they stay at restaurants for a long period of time. So if they get a new gig, they buy new knives. The restaurant doesn't provide the knives for the chefs. But if you watch cooking shows, or even like if you watch The Bear or like another show that depicts a kitchen in a restaurant, it's like the quintessential like chef like opening like the towel of knives. They're always wrapped in a towel, right? Like, I mean, some chefs carry them in like a case, but most of the time they're just like wrapped in a kitchen towel, and they like open them up, and there's like this line of knives. No one else can don't touch the knives. They're their knives. And like sometimes they'll like, when they leave at night, they like roll them up and like put them in a book, like in a cooking book or something up in the corner shelf. And like, that's my experience at least. So I understand. And I guess, so this article let's get back to the article real quick. So like the article looks at like how restaurants are treating their employees in the current day, right? So I think the overarching feeling in this article is that chefs are just like you and I. Most of them are middle-class workers, right? They work really hard. They work long shifts. They pay their bills. They have rent. They have car payments. They go on vacations when they can. Not many, probably, but you know, all those things. They like to go to eat too. They spend money in restaurants. So they don't have an extra $1,000 to $2,000 or even more sometimes laying around to buy new knives every time they start a new job. Some don't, right? But there's also this like weird, like passionate, like relationship between a chef and his or her knives. Like it's a very intimate thing. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I've met a million chefs not a million really, but hundreds of chefs who have knife tattoos like on them, right? It's like the chef, you're like, oh, you must be a chef or a weirdo. Right. I don't know, but
or a murderer.
Or a murderer, but probably a chef, right? You're a chef, hopefully. But that's like, it's like this intimate relationship, because what we don't think about as us normal people going about our lives and using knives to cut like, I don't know, vegetables for dinner or something. Knives are like, chef knives can be purchased at certain lengths. right? For depending on how big of a person you are, left-handed, right-handed. I just did the opposite hand when I did that. I'm like, this is not my left hand, but left-handed, right-handed. I'm sure there's a million. I'm not a chef, so I don't know, but there's a million other things that you could do, like to personalize knives. And you use it. It's what you do. It's your job. It's like, I mean, I don't know what I could compare it to in our realm. If you want to say like your laptop, but most places provide you with laptops.
I think in the article they said it was like if you're like a violinist, it would be like using just like a generic violin opposed to your own or something.
Yes. And it's always been like, especially across like high level kitchens. So I'm not talking like Applebee's or something, right? And nothing against those people, but that's not the caliber of chef I'm talking about. It's more high level kitchens. And it's always been the norm. And this article talks about it a lot, for the kitchen tools, like for you to purchase your own kitchen tools, and you're expected to purchase those kitchen tools and to have them when you show up for your first day at work. They're so expensive. So I guess I don't like the this or that in this article. Like it's either this or that. I feel like we should be saying like, well, if you want to bring in your own knives, then go right ahead. You're allowed to. But if you can't afford to, or for other reasons you don't want to, we'll provide them for you. We're not going to provide you with like the perfectly tailored knife collection, but we'll have knives for you ready to go if you don't want to bring your own. Like I just feel like the whole like like some people in this article were like, it's ridiculous. Like they were interviewing people and it's like, it's ridiculous. Like they can't afford to bring those, but that's not always the case. And sometimes they want to. So
right.
I think it's just leave it up to the chef, and I do understand what this article is saying when it's like, we shouldn't force them to have to buy $1,000. Cause then you're also like, if they can't afford to, they're just going to go out and buy shitty knives and then feel like, and then not be happy about it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I
like, so what about if like the restaurant says that they'll pay for like X, like, should the chef be able to choose, be like, okay, this is the set that I would like. Can you afford to buy this for me?
No. I think it shouldn't even go that far. I think it should be like, if you want to bring your own, you can bring exactly what you want and what you need. But if you can't, for whatever reason, this is what we have to provide you with. No, this is like, you can choose. It's right. Like a health insurance plan. Like you have right. one option, go ahead. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's my opinion. I feel like the article kind of teetered on that we should be buying them for the chef, like they should be provided. And right. I think in the end, it should just depend on the chef. And yes, it could depend on how, like the higher the caliber of restaurant and kitchen, maybe that makes a difference. But, a chef at like a James Beard award winning, and I'm not talking head chef or like, I'm talking about just like line cooks. That's, they're pretty much, they get paid pretty much the same across the board. And when it starts to get at a certain caliber from middle to very high, they get paid primarily the same amount of money until they get promoted to a higher level. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard, that's my opinion. I'm not a chef, but right. I think that it should be up to the chef. That's how I think
it's really interesting.
It is. I mean, and I working in the restaurant industry. If you're female in the restaurant industry and you worked in like actual restaurants and not just like bars and nightclubs, which I did too, but like I've dated chefs, right? I feel like it's like a normal thing. It's this is something, I think I've said it on the podcast before, but it's called, what did we used to call it? Chef's coat. Oh my God. Chef's coat. Nikki, who used to work at Triple C, and I were laughing because we both said it once about a chef that we came in contact with. It's like chef's coat. Oh my God, what do they call it? Anyways, it's basically this like weird thing that happens when a guy who really isn't that attractive puts on a chef coat. You're like, oh, wow, you're hot. Like, what? How did that happen?
Then he has his knives in his hands.
Yeah, and he's chopping, and you're like, wow, right? Not every time. I'm not saying this happens ever. Not every man on the street can put on a chef's coat and look like that. It's gotta be like a certain, level of person. But that's so mean.
The chef jacket glow, the chef coat glow.
Like chef coat. It's like, oh my God. Oh God, I need to text Nikki and ask her because it's going to bother me. But anyways, the point is, it's just chefs, but I dated chefs and they are obsessed with their knives. It's like some men in video games, or golf clubs or something. They're obsessed with their knives. Like, oh, don't touch my knife. Like, don't go near my knives. Like, if you're in my kitchen and you need to chop something, don't touch those knives.
That's so funny. That's so funny. A really touchy territorial subject.
Yes. I think it's called chef coat syndrome.
Chef coat syndrome.
That's what we called it. Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Maybe you'll see a little bit of that on The Bear.
It's a thing. Yeah. I happens on The Bear because that man, who that actor is, I mean, he's attractive anyway, I feel like, but like, he's really attractive when he puts on the whole outfit. I think a man in uniform. I don't know.
Jeremy Allen White. I'm sorry, okay. Jeremy. That's what his real name is.
I forgot your name. He's really good. He's
not
very
just lip
good.
Gallagher.
They're all great. Yeah, all the actors and actresses in that show are very, very good. They should win awards.
I'm gonna watch it now, starting tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Are we done with chef? Are we done with knives?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with my rant there.
We're sliced out.
We're sliced out. Good one.
So to close out our articles for this episode, I have a Bon Appetit article, bringing it back to my social media realm here. It's called TikTok Virality Has Become a Key to Restaurant Success. It's Not So Easy to Come By. So we've talked about TikTok in the hospitality industry on this podcast. I've presented about it at my CCC University marketing sessions, and it's just like a huge part of the hospitality industry right now as a whole. And quick plug right now, if you don't follow us on TikTok at CCC, we have a TikTok account up and running. So follow us, I'll follow you back. And I want to see what you're doing because we don't have that many, I don't follow that many customer accounts yet because I need to keep finding them.
Yeah.
So this article was interesting because it shows the power of TikTok in a few different ways. So one of the first ways, which I think is one of the most common ways, was through user-generated content and how viral videos posted by just normal people on the app can really translate into restaurant sales. So one of the examples that they talk about in this article is an account called Sister Snacking. So on a whim, this account, it's a couple sisters, New York based. They decided to review a restaurant in New York City called Skirt Steak. And so there was a couple of videos being posted about Skirt Steak in New York. And so the girls wanted to hop in and get in, and they went. And so during this video, they show their experience dining at Skirt Steak, which includes a delicious steak, a salad, and unlimited French fries for just $28. And so that's obviously a great deal, which I think is probably what drew them into the restaurant in general. But then when they posted this video, they posted about this amazing offering, and then they highlighted other elements of the restaurant, like the dessert cart, just like the whole ambiance of the restaurant during their time there. And so then they posted this TikTok. It wasn't a huge plan. It was just they went, tried it out, posted the TikTok, and in 2 days, it had 1 million views. Wow. And that same day, after the second day, Skirt Steak restaurant was greeted by 100 people waiting in line to eat there. So they really just overnight, over 2 nights, experienced that viral effect from that singular TikTok video.
The power of TikTok. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so then that led to other media success for Skirt Steak because they were posted about on Eater, New York, for being one of those TikTok famous restaurants. Mm-hmm. And another publication, Infatuation. So that one video led to other media success as well. And then the same account, Snacking Sisters, another Chef Derek Wong, was creating omakase dinners at people's home during COVID and then afterwards. And he also experienced the viral effect from this TikTok account. So the girls posted 2 videos on 2 separate occasions. One got 169,000 views, and then the other one got 776,000 views. And so from posting and making these, not even intentionally, but obviously when you post a video, you're hoping it gets seen, you're wanting the content to be experienced, but you don't know if the video is going to go viral until it goes viral. But they kind of concluded that it takes about 100,000 views before a post starts impacting restaurant foot traffic and sales. So 100,000 views, I guess, is that sweet spot if you're going to see it impact at an actual scale. This Chef Derek Wong with the omakase dinners, this actually led him to be able to open his own restaurant in Manhattan called Matsunori. So because of the engagement and the awareness that was spread about his brand, he was able to open his own restaurant, which is obviously amazing.
In New York. That's
in New
crazy.
York City.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's just like the power of user generated content as a whole, which is so impressive on TikTok. And so obviously the title of the article is saying how it is a real thing to go viral and it really can impact, but it's never going to be guaranteed. It's not just like overnight easy. You can't just say, okay, this video is going to make it, this one's not. You could put like time, effort, energy into one video and it flops, but then you could post a video with like no planning, just off the whim, and that's the one that goes viral. So there's not really like necessarily a rhyme or reason, which it's part of the whole TikTok game and the algorithm that you're playing with. But I think overall, the upside of it happening makes it worth it to be on the app and to engage on the app.
Yeah.
With no matter like when you're being talked about, you want to be getting on those moments.
I think that like, I feel like, especially in places like New York or Boston and places with a lot of colleges, a lot of restaurants have college students who work for them. Right. And I think if you don't have like the influencer effect, like if you don't have like this, you know, those sisters coming into your restaurant and putting up a TikTok video about your restaurant, then I feel like it's like, look for someone on your staff that's creative, that's in school, that wants to earn a little more money, or like, we'll just do it for the, you know, and do it for you and post it to your own page. And I feel like if it's good enough, you know, I mean, I think it's, you have to tap into, a lot of times you don't even realize the talent you have like right in front of you. And there's a lot of people that could, you know, help you do it. Cause I think restaurant managers, and most times are not like, you know, or operation managers, like they're very analytical people. They're not the most creative people in the end. So, but yeah, I feel like there's gotta be people in restaurants that can do it. I mean, I remember working with, right. And I worked in restaurants when this wasn't a thing, but like, there was still people who were super creative that would do even just like the blackboards in front of the restaurant or like something, or come up with funny slogans or something. And I don't know.
I mean, tap into your Gen Z employees right now. This is like the moment that they're made for.
This is their moment.
This is their moment. But yeah, I mean, so the Snacking Sisters, that's like the user generated content version. But then also if restaurants are making content themselves with like maybe your Gen Z employees, that's another great spot to go viral if the opportunity happens. And the article also talks about the Red Chicks, CHICKZ, which is a Nashville style hot chicken restaurant in Los Angeles. And they joined during the pandemic, and they were kind of like on one of the first restaurants to get on there. But they were posting, they post about like aggressively using the different dipping sauces that they have, making like gigantic, like ridiculously large sandwiches. And this like was entertaining. Even like if you're not in the area, it's like fun to watch like them try to cut through like this gigantic sandwich that like fun to watch. But they reached 1 million followers as a single standalone restaurant, which is like insane. So that's incredible. I was looking through some of their videos and I have seen it before, but they have like, it's really colorful, like all the sauces, and it's mostly just food photos and like cheese fries, like all that kind of extra stuff. And so that 1 million following from TikTok, doing it during the pandemic, now they were able to expand to 18 different locations. So
oh my goodness,
it's like real growth that restaurants see with it. And so customers are showing up to the restaurant saying that they saw them from TikTok. Like it's people are like coming in and they're showing that that's where they found them from. And one of the stats here was saying that the marketing team at Red Chicks has a team of 4 that devotes 15 to 20 hours each week to TikTok. So it's definitely like on their like minds all the time, brainstorming some different ideas and getting in on trends while the moments are hot. So it's definitely like something that is prioritized on the marketing side. And I mean, I've said it before, but if you're like on just in social media in general, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, those are the big 3, and even more so like TikTok these days than ever before. So another stat that I found in the article that was interesting, the TikTok audience is continuing to get older, and so you're going to find your demographic on there. The first quarter of 2021, 36% of users were between 35 and 54 years old, which was compared to 26% in the prior year. So it's just growing
and growing. We take everything over. I'm sorry. Like we took over Facebook, and now Facebook is like for like 80-year-olds and like, and then slowly Instagram, although Instagram is still, you know, cool, but it's just funny. And now TikTok, it is funny because I see videos and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of like I'm 40 and it's like, there's a lot of 40-year-old women on TikTok now, like making videos, not just like, my friends,
Right.
like watching videos. I don't ever post anything. I posted one video because I had to, and that was like literally it. But I just watch other people's videos, and there's a lot of 40-year-old moms on there, or not moms, just 40-year-olds in general.
Yeah, posting about their lives.
Oh, it's funny.
That's great. But yeah, get on TikTok, like the viral moments that could happen. It's all worth it to like try. And it can really like make a difference in your sales. If you're getting that, I don't know, if you get that golden moment. I'm thinking of like, what's the TV show where you like press the golden buzzer?
Oh,
America's Got Talent. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's America's Got Talent. That's the one with the buzzer, right? Yeah, I think that is. Yeah.
I'm just thinking like a viral video is like getting the buzzer pressed for you, which is like pretty cool. So post those TikToks, repost everything.
You could be like, you should be in like your next life. I don't want to say go out and get another job because I don't want you to leave, but in your next life, Rachel, not this one. Okay. You should do something. You should be like director of TikTok marketing. I'm just saying, I feel like it's coming. I feel like those types of jobs, like obviously we have we have Azure with social media, content and all that stuff. And that's what you do as well. But like, I feel like the higher level management positions in marketing, it's gonna happen. I
feel like I've thought about it for so long. I'm like, this is like where it should be in social media. Like this is what you actually have to be putting into the time for to like see that kind of growth. So it's like, it's a real like area to spend a lot of time on to see that.
It's a real moneymaker. It's a real moneymaker. I mean, you see it like, I know we're talking about restaurants, but I'm always amazed at the people who just like make silly videos and they have a ton of followers and, and they have the little check next to their name. And now that's what they do for a living. Right. Just make silly videos. I'm like, I couldn't do it because I can barely get my shit together to like record this podcast. So there's no way. And you do all the planning for it. I don't even do the planning. So I would never be able to like, now I'm going to like take a video of me and my morning routine. Like that would,
I think, people are making full careers on it. It's wild. And they're all like young
not just
people
careers, but like, not just careers, like they're making a lot of money. Like they're not just like breezing, just getting by.
Oh no.
Like, they're rich.
Yeah. They're rich. They're richer than all of us.
God damn, man. If only I had the patience and the time, but I don't. And the creativity.
Maybe one of the kids will become an influencer one day.
I mean, I feel like Colby's going to be famous on YouTube eventually. So yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, I think that concludes our interesting headlines episode.
Episode 70. That's crazy. Oh man. Wow. What are we going to do when we hit 100? We got to like have a party or something.
I know. Okay. We'll have to think of like an amazing guest for episode 100.
Yeah, not Jono. Sorry,
Even
Jono.
more
You're amazing, but more amazing than Jono.
One we've never had before.
Danny Meyer. Are you listening? No.
We'll keep dreaming.
I'll keep dreaming. Yeah. We'll think of something. But thanks everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Two Chicks, Three Seats,
your events industry podcast, brought to you by Triple Seat, the industry leader for event management software.
Find out more about Triple Seat at tripleseat.com.